name is Michelle Rank, and I want to welcome you to our February Sew Fun Club. This month, we are featuring a line of patterns by Buttermilk Basin, and I've got a lot to show you. But before I dive into that, I want to talk about our show and tell and the drawing that we have for this month. Now, this month, I've got two different designs by Pickle Pie Designs. We've got this really cute placeholder and also a sunflower. And then we also have a template, the Thora Bell template. Really fun, and you can do a lot of different quilts with this. So these are the giveaways. So in order to be in the running for these giveaways, you're going to want to like, comment, and share. And you might be the lucky winner to win these three amazing items. So at the end of our video here, we will have a section after I show my show and tell for you to add for you. And I can't wait to see what you've been working on. So let's dive right in to this month's Sew Fun Club and our featured items. Now the first one that I want to talk about is called Spiced Gumdrops. And you'll notice it's this wonderful quilt behind me. Now I had some help, and Karen Keneally made this quilt for me. Isn't it wonderful? Very masculine colors, but you will see it's got one big block here that's just repeated. And you simply play upon your colors that you picked and switch them out. So that quilt, once again, is Spiced Gumdrops. The next one that we have is our Springtime Table Runner. Now this table runner, I had help, and they actually did it with bright, bold black, red, and black. Lynn did this at our store for me, and I love the way that it turned out. And I love the contrast. If you look at the pattern and to what she made, literally your color choices are going to dictate the theme and the feel for anything that you make with quilting and sewing. So I love that it looks so vastly different. The next item that we have is Vintage Springtime Quilt. Now this one features a quilt panel in the center that I made. I simply cut that quilt panel up, and then I added all the wonderful basket blocks all the way around. And then you'll also notice the border where I have pieced areas that randomly go up and down. It was a lot of fun to create, and I loved pulling this center panel from all of the stash of the panels that I have. And then I simply pulled the colors from the panel to make the quilt. I did add one additional item. You'll see that I added chenille. Now chenille is a really fun item that you can add, and I love the way that it gives it more of a vintage feel. So I'll hold this up one more time. This one is Vintage Spring Quilt. Now the next item, you can get ready for Christmas super early. This one is called Ho Ho Ho, and I love it. Andrea at our Brea store made the sample for us. And it's just one of those really cute little wall hangings. But keep in mind, you can make it a table runner. You can add more of them and make it an actual quilt. There's so much that you can do with this Ho 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 quilt. And I love the little details. She used some felt for the actual holly leaves. And just look at that fun border that she put together. Once again, this is Ho Ho Ho. Now the next item I made, and this one is called Poinsettia and Holly Leaves. I absolutely loved making this particular quilt. Now I love some of the quilts that we have from Buttermilk Basin because they're a little bit smaller. This quilt itself is only 30 by 30, but I love the play of the pieced pieces and then also having rough edge applique for the holly leaves. It turned out so beautiful. I added some borders around. I used a traditional color scheme with burgundy green and a cream colored. It was a lot of fun to put together. And to be honest with you, it went together very easily. I simply added these with fused, stitched around. And then I also did that for the centers to really tie it off. And you'll notice that the colors all match and coordinate together. I did some free motion stitching on the inside and a lot of straight line quilting on the outside to tie it all together. It's just a really fun, vibrant quilt. And once again, poinsettias and holly leaves. Now the next one you can also get ready for next year. This is quilted pumpkin patch. Now this quilt is almost square. It's 33.5 by 36.5. And it was so much fun to piece together these pumpkins. Let me pull it back. So you'll see that it's the same pumpkin. I used different colors to coordinate. And I also used lots of bright orangey tones of the fabrics to really tie it in so that it could be an autumn quilt. Now it doesn't have to be literally only for Halloween or October. This quilt can stretch all the way through the fall season. I love the colors, and I love on this particular pieced block that we have with the pumpkins. It's the first time I've ever done a pattern where they actually have a notch out for the stem of the pumpkins. It's just so much fun. Let me hold it up again. I did a very fun and easy stitching to complete this. I'm going to turn around and show you the back. I used my quilting bar on my machine, and I simply stitched the same distance all the way around. But when I started to stitch this, I literally stitched in a curve, and then I used my bar and just mimicked that curve. When I stitched the other direction, I also did a nice curve. So you get this really unique stitched straight line quilt look. So a lot of fun to do, and I think it's the perfect accomplice for the front of this quilt. Just a lot of fun to put together. Now the next item that we have is actually called Patriotic Pinwheels. And once again, Karen Keneally at the Brea store made me this sample. Now you may notice right off the back, it doesn't look very patriotic. Let me show you the little sample here. So you'll see that the sample here is definitely red, white, and blue, but we deliberately pulled different colors to make it look completely different. And you can do the same thing. You can buy this one pattern and create lots of different quilts and have the look and feel of them be totally different. I love that about quilting. So on here, you'll notice that Karen digitized a chicken, and she did the stitching all the way on top of the blocks. Isn't it fun? So you'll see that there's a chicken that way, and then she flip-flops them for the table runner. And look at that adorable fabric that she has. So once again, this is Patriotic Pinwheels. Now the last quilted item that we have that's a table runner, this one is called Trick or Treat Runner. And once again, look how much fun that is. So we used a little bit of different colors on here, and you'll see that they also digitized a witch, a spider, and Karen did a great job at doing that as well. She did a lot of fun with stitching, and then she also has on the back some fun Halloween fabrics. So you can get together, get your fabrics rolling, and get together and have a lot of stuff done for your holidays coming up next year. So Trick or Treat Table Runner. Now the next thing that I made, this one is called Joy. And it's just a tiny little pillow. Isn't it sweet? Now, Buttermilk Basin is also known for their wool fabrics and making patterns that have to do with wool. So I wanted to make this one, and I used some of the wool that I have at home. I love the stitching. I did basically just a basic background, took my machine, did some straight line stitching to give it a little bit of contrast to the fabric. And then with applique, I added the J, the O, and the Y, and also the bow on the wreath to complete it. And then I just used some free motion quilting to secure the wool to the back. Simply did a simple envelope style pillow, and you've got just a really fun heirloom that you will have for years to come. Just a fun little project, and this one is called Joy. The next one that we have is our Hexie Bee Pillow. Now, once again, I told you that Buttermilk Basin is known for their wool. That's kind of where they started out, but they have branched out to all of the other quilting designs that we have. So I wanted to do one item that I did with wool, and then I also did it with not having all wool. So this is the same pillow, but all that I did was actually do some fabrics with applique. So you'll see that with the wool, you get kind of that warm, cozy, but you can have just as fun and brilliant and bright pillow with using just your fabrics that you already have. They're put together the same way, the envelope back, and I love that they look completely different, but they're the same design. You'll notice that I did a blanket stitch on all of them around the actual honeycomb part of it. And then on the bees, I did straight line, I did free motion quilting to secure those fabrics down. So just a fun little project, and I love the way they turned out. And once again, anytime you see a pattern that has wool, you can do it in wool, or you can opt out and do it with regular fabrics. Now the next item that we have is our 2-piece pumpkin pillows. So Andrea made this for us, and isn't it just so sweet? It's the perfect little additive for all of your Halloween decorating next year. So it's got a pumpkin. You'll see that it's got the stem and the leaves. And I love the pumpkin. I love the colors that she used here. So this pillow could actually extend into all of fall, just like the other product that I showed you earlier. Or you could really do, the purples, the greens, the lime greens, and the bright oranges, and have it be just for Halloween. It's completely up to you what you do, but this is just a fun little project that we have. And once again, it's 2-piece pumpkins. Now, the last sample that I have for you is probably one of my favorites. This one is called Vintage Table Runner. Now, I love the look of crows and wildlife, so I was drawn to this one instantly. I used a bunch of my wool that I had, and funny, this little strip here was given to me, some wool from a customer that I know at our Huntington Beach store, and I actually utilized it to make this fun little pillow. So I've used a bunch of different wools in applique, and I used my Roxanne's glue to kind of keep them in place, iron them down, and then I did free motion stitching to contain everything. It's got a little bowl and stars, and it definitely looks rustic and handmade. I absolutely love it. It's going to be a treasure in my house. I did just a zipper on the back of this one so that I can clean it and keep that pillow nice and good. But if you look at the sample colors, once again, we've taken creative liberties and gone outside of the color scheme that they have originally showed. I wanted to warm it up and use some of the blue tones to it, and I just love the way that it turned out. And once again, that crow or raven in the center is really the highlight of this particular item. So this is Vintage Table Runner that I made into a pillow. So that is it for all of our samples that we have this month. Once again, we want to remind you that you can go to moors-sew.com for any and all of your sewing needs. And now let's do our show and tell. Okay, so for this one, I have brought in this wonderful quilted little item that I made just this past weekend. And it's just so much fun. It actually is Christmas fabrics. 2 charm packs that I had for a while, and I did foundation paper piecing for the center blocks to make those kite blocks. I love that the feel and the look of it. It looks very vintage with the colors and the small dainty prints. It also has a lot of pink tones to it, so it's the perfect little accent for my house. And then I simply did some of the leftover pieces to make the border. And then I did on the center part, I did straight line quilting, about 1 inch blocks all the way across. And then I did free motion on the sides and the borders. And then the only other thing that I did different, I wanted it to have a larger binding. So I did a 3-inch binding to finish this one off. It is so much fun, and I can't wait to display it next year. I love the prints, and it's one of those things where I bought these charm packs. I can't even tell you how long ago, but I finally got to use them. And I love the way that it looks. Now, I can't wait to see what you have finished. So please like, comment, and share your items with me so that I can see what you've been working on. And that covers it for this month's February Sew Fun Club. I look forward to seeing you each and every month. And until then, I hope you have happy stitching, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.